It's time now for the award-winning #1 local talk show in Northeast Pennsylvania, The Sam Lesante Show. Now here's your host, Sam Lesante.
So my friends, let me tell you a story that happened to me, true story. Last month I was outside doing something and the phone rang, my cell phone rang. I answered the phone and they said, this is so-and-so from UPS. And will you be at your home tomorrow between the hours of 10 and 12? I said, well, yes. He said, because we have a certified check for you for $875,000. I said, what? You have a certified check for me for $875,000? Yes, he said. Yeah, you won the Publishers Clearinghouse. And so I said, wait a second. I never ordered anything from the Publishers Clearinghouse. So maybe your wife did. Is your wife there? I said, no, my wife's walking our dog. I said, but tell me a little bit more about this. Well, you've heard of Steve Harvey, haven't you? I said, I met him a couple times too. So, well, we're going to be there with our crew, and you know, you won, maybe your wife applied, but we'll be there with our crew. It's $875,000 certified check. And I said, well, I'm telling you, it's interesting because tomorrow when you come with your crew, I'll have my crew there because I own a TV station, a production house, and we air on various cable systems. And then all of a sudden the phone went dead. Now, that was a scam, and there's a little bit more about that scam, but today we're going to be talking about scams. So listen, my friends. Record the show, tell your friends, we're on YouTube, we're on our website. This is a show that you really want to listen to. My friend, Trooper Anthony Petroski is here from Troop N. He's the main person who'll tell you what's going on. Tony, how are you?
Good, how are you, Sam?
I'm doing good. Now, you wonder how many people, and it's just so sad, how many people fall prey to this, okay? Every time you go out, you must hear stories that just want to make your hair grow back.
Right, and believe it, it does want to grow back. Here's the thing. If the scams are still happening, we know it's working. Because if it wasn't working, they wouldn't be doing this. And there's so many different scams out there. But of course it works. And that's the sad part. Maybe if they try 100 phone calls a day, they may get one person. But think about it, that's all profit. That's money they get for doing absolutely nothing.
What should a person do if they encounter something like that?
Well, number one, take a second to think about it, right? You didn't enter into the Publishers Clearinghouse. You had no involvement with it, but all of a sudden you won. A lot of times people hear, oh, you won, and they think, great, I've been trying to win something my whole life, right? But think about it. I talked to people, they said, I got this letter from All Regions Lottery Service, and I won $891,000. I only have to pay $5,000 in taxes. Kind of similar to your story, right?
Yeah.
And this was a letter that they showed me. And I said, great. I said, this is awesome. I said, but it says, dear individual. So you mean to tell me you won almost $1 million and they don't even know your name? The letter says, dear individual. I said, by the way, do you play the lottery? And he said, well, no. So, it's an opportunity for people to try. The easiest way to get something from somebody is to have a conversation. And what they do is they put pressure on you, right? They don't want you to talk to anybody else. They put pressure. They make it seem so good until they get you, right? So what we tell people is, first of all, if you don't know the number, don't answer it. What we've learned is scammers don't leave messages. Also, a lot of times we get a phone call and they use computer technology to spoof numbers to where it's a local Hazleton number, so you think, okay, I'll answer it.
That's right.
Well, when you answer that phone number, you hear a little noise. It sounds like a water dripping out of a faucet landing into a pool of water. It sounds like a little drip noise. All that is that's for the scammer. That's letting them know that you just picked up the phone and it's time for them to talk. See, they don't have a phone up to their ear. They have a headset on. They're using a computer to do all this. They have a spreadsheet of numbers that they're going to call and that they previously called and they're going to call next. So if you hear that, just hang the phone up. And please don't feel bad hanging the phone up on these people.
Well, that's the problem. You'll see a local number and you'll answer them, okay, and there's always a hesitation. But is there a way that you can trace that call?
If we have a legitimate victim and we have an investigation, yes, there is. The problem with that is, I hate to lie to people, it takes time. These investigations are lengthy. They take time. Sometimes we find out who they are, sometimes we don't. Sometimes we find out they're in a different country. And if we have somebody that's out maybe $2,000, they got scammed out, they're not going to send us to that other country to arrest the person. We'll just have a warrant in country, in state, that if they ever come here and get picked up by the police, they'll have to answer for the charges, but they're not going to send us overseas. But we know that these scams are happening in our area. We know there's scams set up, and we're going to talk about them soon here, where they send couriers to people's houses to pick up money.
So one of those, let's talk about the loved one.
Yes.
Okay.
The loved one scam. That is the number
Sounds
one
nice.
scam. It sounds wonderful, right? That's the number one scam that we have in our area. And people think, well, it's somebody from another country, this, that. No, in our area, where we are right now, we've had this happen. And what happens is this. You get a phone call that says, and this is the magic word, grandchild, right? Usually when grandson or granddaughters or grandparents have the checkbook out and say, how much? Where do I need to send it to, right? So they say, your grandson or granddaughter's in trouble. They've been arrested. They got their phone call. They wanted me to call you. They said, don't talk to anybody else in the family. We understand this is embarrassing. We can release them, but we need X amount of dollars. So there's one of two ways you could do it. You could either go to the closest store and get $500 worth of gift cards. You don't even have to send them or mail them. You can read me the PIN numbers over the phone, and then I'll release your grandson or granddaughter. Or you could put a monetary amount of money in an envelope, tell us your address, even though they supposedly have your family member in arrest. They don't know where you live. And put it in your mailbox, and we'll come and pick it up. And it sounds so convincing, right? So a lot of people do this. And recently, we had a victim in our area here. They put $1,000 in an envelope, put it in their mailbox, and a courier came to their house and picked up that money. So they are in our area. They are. They're operating this in our area because this scam works. And sometimes these victims say, how did they know my grandson's name? Well, sometimes they do their homework, and they'll type your name in on Facebook. And they'll look, and if your account is public, they could see all of your information. And your first post may be your picture with your grandson, and you have his name. So it makes it seem legitimate, but it's not. If somebody gets arrested, they do get that magic phone call. But that is for them to make. Nobody calls it on their behalf. They will call you directly, not on behalf of somebody else. And so what we tell people is if you're concerned, hang the phone up. Number one, this is not how the process works. They get to make a phone call if they get arrested, but also you have to go through a bail bondsman through the jail. It's not just give us gift cards. The gift cards are a scam because they can't be traced. Yeah. We can't trace where a gift card's used. That's why scammers want them. But hang the phone up. Call your grandson, your granddaughter. Call your son or daughter and just make sure everything is fine. But see, they put pressure on you. They don't want you to really think about it because the more you think about it, the more you're going to realize this is a scam.
Yeah. And that's going on. So the best thing to do is when anytime something like that is just either hang up or
hang up. Don't answer in the first place if you don't know the number.
Well, could you set them up? Could you say, look, all right, and you could say, look, I'll have the money, I have to go to the bank, and then call the state cops.
You can if you recognize it, right? And so that happened recently where she was a legitimate victim. We had a victim out $5,000. She put the money in her mailbox.
Did she call the cops?
And this happened after the fact. So we attempted to set up another one, and they didn't come and pick the money up. So see, a lot of times, the victims don't realize that they're being scammed, or they don't realize they were scammed until after they've spoken to somebody. See, a lot of times they target seniors because they could be by themselves, live by themselves, more trusting individuals. 25, 30 years ago, if somebody called your phone, they were legitimate. You didn't have this. Now we do. And so then they talk to a neighbor, a friend, a family member, and they say, you just got scammed. And then it's way after the fact.
What's the punishment now? Okay, you caught the guy or the woman. Okay, you got him. They scammed him. They're taking $5,000 off from a couple that really, elderly couple that really needs it in their life. Yes. What's the punishment?
So they're going to be arrested for theft by deception. So it all depends on what they're found guilty of, but they could be looking at some prison time, hefty fines, restitution back to the victim. We don't try to cut them any kind of breaks.
No.
Why? Because this is happening far too often.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's going to continue to happen.
So they go out and get a fancy lawyer or a lawyer, and they, et cetera. But the point is, if they're found guilty, they're going to pay the price.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Have you been able to get some arrests?
We've made a lot of arrests all across the Commonwealth. The state police have made a ton of arrests on these. But you know what? They're not easy investigations, especially when it's somebody out of the country. Even out of state makes it difficult. They're lengthy. It's a lot of court orders, so we can go through phone companies, or if it's an email or text, we have to go that route. They're lengthy, but we do everything we can to help our victims.
You know, it amazes me, Tony, why they don't just go out and get a job, as I said in the beginning, and you know, use your talents to
Well, that would make sense. Right? These people, they don't want to pay taxes. They don't want to have a boss. So they figure, well, let me do this and I'll just scam people out of their life savings. It's a shame.
Yeah, and it's happened. That's the sad part.
And it's going, and I can't even sit here and say it's going to end, because it's not. So the best thing we could do is this, and educate ourselves.
Have you, that's the reason for the show.
Absolutely.
Okay, is to educate the people and say, look, if it sounds too good, it's not be good. But if you don't know anything, just hang up.
Just hang up.
I mean, that's it. Just hang up.
It's not worth your time.
No, it's not worth the
The
time.
longer they have you on the phone,
Yeah.
the more susceptible you are becoming a victim. Because again, they're good talkers.
Is there anything other than, you know, let's assume you have a recorder. Could you record them, the conversation?
You can.
Does that help at all?
It helps if we ultimately arrest a person, because then that becomes evidence that we could play in court.
Yeah.
But you know, if you're just recording them and you're really not a victim, there's not even a reason to contact police. Only if you know you've been scammed. Why? Because this happens hundreds, thousands of times a day. I work for the Pennsylvania State Police. I have for 17 years. Throughout those 17 years, I've gotten many calls on my cell phone that says, hey, we're with the State Troopers Association of Pennsylvania. We're collecting money. I said, wow, that's great. I work for the state police. And they hang up. We don't solicit. We don't solicit money, right? So any opportunity somebody has to scam people, they will take that.
And and the point is that you're compassionate, like the veterans.
Sure.
You're compassionate because, you know, all of you people, and I applaud all of the Pennsylvania State Police. I mean,
we appreciate that.
Seriously, you put your lives at stake every day, and really, you know, instead of fearing the state police, they should be your friends.
Absolutely, we're here to help.
Yeah. Folks, I'm talking to Trooper Anthony Petroski from Troop N, in charge of trying to prevent us from being suckered in and taking your money. We'll be back right after this. Well, welcome back to the Sam Lesante Show, folks. Remember, 24/7, all of our programs there on ssptv.com, and also YouTube, Rumble, and Facebook, etc., etc. Once again, thank you for making this show, the Sam Lesante Show, the #1 talk show in northeastern Pennsylvania, taken from the scientific poll from Susquehanna Polling and Research. My guest today is Trooper Anthony Petroski from Troop N, Hazleton, talking about scams. Very important show, my friends. Please record the show, tell your friends about it. We're on YouTube, etc. You can save a lot of money if you get scammed. Getting back to the different scams that are out there, we have what you call the sweetheart swindle.
Yeah, sounds good, doesn't it?
I like the name.
Yeah. And so here's what this is all about. A lot of senior citizens are using dating apps, okay? Maybe their loved one is deceased, or maybe they're by themselves and now their family moved out, they're living alone. So a lot of them are going on these dating apps just to find companionship, to talk to other people, and scammers have picked up on this. So what they will do is they will go on there and they will use the grooming technique on our seniors, and they will develop a rapport. And they will have conversations every single day. How was your day? Oh, good, I work, I do this, my family. Just kind of everyday conversations. And it's going to happen every single day. And the senior citizen who's using this dating app feels great, somebody I connect with, and they never even met them, but they're having good conversations. Then the other person goes blank for 3 or 4 days. No messages, nothing. And then our senior writes, is everything okay? I haven't heard from you. And a person writes back, oh, I'm so sorry, I lost my job. I might lose my house, my apartment. I'm trying to make ends meet. I'm really sorry. So the senior, being very trusting, oh, is there any way I could help out? No, I wouldn't ask you to do that. You know, even though we're really good friends, we're going to meet, I wouldn't ask you to do that. No, I want to. You could pay me back when you get back on your feet. And that's just how it starts. And next thing you know, it's money, it's gift cards, it's mailing me checks, this and that. And then once the scammer's done, they delete their account and start up a new one. And so even though you may be thinking you're talking to a 75, an 85-year-old man, it could be a 19-year-old woman. See, with being online and social media, you never really truly know who you're communicating with. This is happening far too often.
In your experiences in our area?
Yeah, far too often.
And there again, you become sympathetic.
Yeah.
Especially if you're alone.
Right. You're just looking for somebody to communicate with. Now, I do a scams presentation where I go out to all different kind of senior citizen groups and try to educate them like what we're doing here so they don't become victims. Because again, we already discussed, this stuff isn't going away. If anything, there's going to be more of it. So the best thing we could do is educate people. And my most recent presentation that I did of this, and I won't say where it happened, a woman came up to me and said, "The sweetheart swindle." I said, "Yes, ma'am." She said, "That's happening to me right now." So I explained what she should do: go to her police department, contact a credit card company, close it, freeze the accounts. So I hope she gets the guidance that she needs. But it's just a shame because people don't realize it.
If you know that's happening, could you notify the authorities and play with that person to try to hook that person that you can find out who it is?
We can certainly try. Right? We could certainly try. But they do this so often. Think about it. They do this so often. And these scammers probably have 5 or 6 different accounts going on at once, scamming multiple people at the same time. So if they start seeing warning signs like, "Hey, I'd like to meet you, let's meet tomorrow," that's it, they're going to be done. Because if it's really somebody like they're saying they're a 75-year-old man and it's a 25-year-old woman, they're obviously never going to meet. So they're just trying to do this to scam people and then they already know in their head, we're never going to meet. I'm never going to meet this person. So they might just delete their account right then and there. Now, if we have a victim that's out of certain money, we could do some warrants on the dating app to try to extract the information that was put in, cell phone records and things like that. Again, lengthy investigations. But we will do everything we can, a thorough investigation to the point where we have no other leads or we can't do anything.
So what do you recommend?
If you're
in this sweetheart swindle.
And we have a lot of seniors that use these dating apps. Be careful. Be aware that these scammers are out there, right? If it sounds too good to be true, it is. These sad stories, they're out there, and it's easy, especially when you're not even talking face to face. Somebody's just typing on a phone or a keyboard. They never truly see you as the victim. They just see you as a target. So be aware that they're out there and know if this happens to you, they're using the grooming technique. And if they start saying, "I lost my job," or, "Can you help me out financially?" Well, obviously that's not somebody that you're there to want to meet. That's somebody that's using the same dating app that you're using just to scam you out of money.
Have you been able to get any of those people?
So I just read one. It happened in the Philadelphia area, okay? And I just read about this where the individual was posing as a 76-year-old man, and the person was arrested because it was local. It was local in the Philadelphia area, and it was a 24-year-old woman. And she was just posing as a 76-year-old man. Listen, it's very easy to go online, Google somebody, take their picture, put that as your profile picture and say, "That's me." But when you never meet these people, you don't know for sure.
Social media is good and bad.
Of course it is.
Yeah. And, what's your take on presenting people and talking about social media?
So we talk about opportunity. So anytime there's a chance for opportunity, these scammers are going to use it. So you said it, social media is good and it's also bad. Right? Good for a show like this, good for the state police. We use social media every single day. Last December, for our Troop N Camp Cadet, which is associated with the state police, it's a nonprofit organization, we did a raffle. And I put out on our Facebook page, I'm going to announce when we're selling tickets. Within 10 minutes, people in the comments section wrote, "I have 4 tickets for sale. I can't make it that night. I'll sell my tickets to you." So people... And I wasn't even selling the tickets yet. So again, there's an opportunity. Now, thankfully, I went on there after somebody brought it to my attention. And I typed in a nice little message, and they deleted their comments. But again, anytime there's a chance for an opportunity, people will take that. So social media is great. You have to be aware that even on social media, Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, there's scammers. Recognize the warning signs.
It's how you use, I guess, the media that's presented to you.
It is how you use it. And one thing we have to remember with social media is there's a way to stay in control. And that's by having your accounts private and not public. Now, when you download a social media app, by default, every one of them is going to have your account public. Because the social media app itself, they want everybody to share and use it. The more people, the better. But when you have your account private, you remain in control. Nobody can see your content unless you accept them as a friend. Nobody can send you a private or direct message unless you accept them as a friend, which means you remain in control. So having a private account allows you to stay in control and keep all those scammers and bad people away from your content.
Are you on Facebook?
I am.
Yeah?
You won't find me.
No?
No.
Well, I'm not on Facebook. I really don't like it.
A lot of people will not put their real name.
Yeah.
You know, because they don't want certain people to see their content. You know, as law enforcement,
Well,
we have to be careful.
What do you use Facebook?
Finding bad people. Do you know I found somebody once on Facebook who stole a TV from Walmart, and I couldn't find him. I went to his last known address. He didn't live there. I typed his name in on Facebook. His account was public. I saw a picture that he posted. I realized the town he was in. I drove to that town. There he was.
You got him. Well, see, you're using a good thing.
Everybody uses social media.
Well, if it's used properly,
Correct.
Okay, it could be a great help.
Absolutely.
But unfortunately, here again, people just doing it, etc.
Sure.
We have the holidays coming up.
Yes.
And so here again, everyone gets in the mood of giving, and you want to help people. And I have a lot of people on my show that are like the United Way, legitimate.
Sure.
People are asking for help. When we come back, my friends, we're going to talk about the phone and texting. I know you have good hearts, but you want to make sure that you're doing the right thing. If there's something you get, a phone call or anything, hang up. Okay. If it's something really important, from the IRS, etc., they'll get in touch with you, believe me. But just hang up. We'll be back right after this. Thanks for staying with us, folks. We're talking about scams. Trooper Anthony Petroski is here from Troop N. We have, if you're just tuning in, this show runs a million times. Go to our website, ssptv.com. This is a very important show, my friends, about scams. Tony, let's talk about phone and texting scams.
Yes. Yeah, so we all know the phone scams, right? IRS, hey, you owe money, we're not going to give you your income tax check unless you pay us this. Well, I could break that down very simple. The IRS does not call you, okay? Past commissioner says, we always say as the IRS, if you're surprised to be hearing from us, then you're not hearing from us. They don't. You will know when the IRS reaches out to you. The IRS does not contact law enforcement and threaten you with law enforcement to arrest you. We don't do that. I've been a trooper for almost 18 years. I've never arrested anybody for that. There are consequences for not paying your taxes. But the phone issue with them calling you, not a problem. A lot of agencies soliciting, police agencies, we talked about that, fire departments, EMS, things like that people really appreciate first responders and they want to donate. We talk about the holidays being around. Those phone calls are going to start more often. Yes. I don't know any organizations nowadays that solicit using phone calls. I really don't. That's almost a thing of the past. So, my advice to you, if you truly want to donate to somebody, contact them directly. Don't let them contact you because it's not them. Plain and simple, it's not them. Do your due diligence, do your research. There's going to be tons of groups. You're going to get these phone calls, donate, help the kids out around Christmas time. It's an unfortunate situation what we have going on overseas, but I was in a store the other day and they said to me after I was done paying, do you want to donate to Israel? And I thought about it for a second. How do I know that this money is actually even getting there? And it's a shame, but you have to be protective of your information.
Yes.
You really do.
Well, I want to thank you for coming on the show.
Always my pleasure.
Okay. My friend, speaking of scams and information, for those of you who live in Schuylkill County, we have a new show which is called the Schuylkill Report. And if you have any information that you'd like us to talk about, we record once a month and we talk about different towns, Shenandoah, Frackville, Monterey City, you name it. Anything happening in your towns, please email me, sam@ssptv.com. And once again, this is a very important show. Please tell your friends about it. Go to our website, watch it. Hopefully it'll save you a lot of money. We'll see you next time.